Today we've got Marin Moss, who is our intern from Illinois Wesleyan University here at our Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council. And we like to get a little bit of background about our guests. And are you a townie?
I am, yeah.
All right, Townie.
I
Okay,
am.
so
Yeah.
just let us know about yourself and how you ended up at Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Bloomington Normal. I went to university high school, and then I made the decision to go to Wesleyan because I really liked the small campus and the community that's at Wesleyan. It's unlike any other school I went to. So I just knew I'd be getting a really good quality education there. And then of course the perks of Bloomington Normal would still be in my favor. So I knew it was the right choice for me. I entered undecided, so I didn't really know what I was going to do. And then I think end of my freshman year, I decided I wanted to do entrepreneurship. And then later on, I think honestly, end of sophomore year, I decided I wanted to do an economics minor. So I'm doing entrepreneurship and economics now. Definitely would not have entered with that. So I'm glad I somehow got on that path because it's what I like doing. And at Wesleyan, I'm involved in Greek life. I am on the student senate, so that's student government. We just started the Business Leadership Society, which is a really cool organization, kind of based on our former business fraternity that we had. I feel like there's definitely a few more things that I'm forgetting, but
Say any sports at U High?
I did volleyball and tennis. Yeah, so I've pretty much done tennis my whole life. And then during the COVID season, I got to do both, so that was kind of a good benefit of COVID. Not that there was many, but yeah, I've definitely done sports my whole life, just not really at Wesleyan.
And then with the whole U High thing, because the colors are green and yellow, so that
Gold.
sort of
Yeah.
transfers over to
Yeah.
Wesleyan's green.
Yep.
Probably not the same shade, but still
Yeah,
with the green.
close enough.
So what is a fun, unique personal fact about yourself?
Oh, that's the hardest one. I would say the fact that I lived in Colorado over the summer because I got to
Oh,
do a lot of cool things there.
okay.
It definitely, as somebody who's literally lived here my entire life, that was my first time not living here for even a short period of time. So that was just a really transformational experience for me. That's probably my coolest fact. It's not really that cool, but it was cool to
Probably
me.
more than most. And then also just
Mhm.
seeing something that's not flat and full of corn.
Exactly.
There's definitely
Yeah.
mountains up there.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So
Yeah.
you are the intern here. And how long have
Mhm.
you been with us?
Like early September,
Okay.
mid-September. So yeah.
And how's it going? No pressure.
No, it's good. I really like it because this is definitely something I'm interested in, like economic development. So just getting the inside on that has been really helpful.
Yeah, I know the big thing that we had you do when we first got here was just creating the demographic profiles for all the
Yeah.
rural communities
Yeah.
because it's the Bloomington Normal Economic Development Council, but most people might not know we're actually over all of McLean County, which has over 20 little, rural communities within it. So yeah, you've been tasked with creating demographic profiles, and I put those together. What software did you use? Was that
I
Canva?
used Canva for all
Okay.
of that. Yeah. So that's just the one I'm the most fluent in. I know there's a lot of other ones, but yeah, I definitely like doing the demographic profiles just because I have lived in Bloomington my entire life and I never really knew the statistics about the neighboring places that I would go, I just didn't know enough about them. So it was cool to get to while I was inputting the data, I was also learning myself
Yeah.
enough about those communities.
Like aha moments, just like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that this was there. They had this many people.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the demographic profiles or even searching through any data is you can see the trends. So it's like
Yeah.
if population's going up, down, what's the makeup of the community,
Hmm.
and also just how they compare to the other communities in McLean County. Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about Illinois Wesleyan and your majors. So you did shift, you said, from entrepreneurship and then added into more of the economic side. How is that? So this is always fun for me because whenever I took economics back in the day, and then even going over the Stevenson Center about how they're teaching economics, it's not always lining up with how we actually practice economic development. So
Yeah.
what's your takeaway from the conversations or what you've seen so far?
I mean, I'm taking my third economics class that
Okay.
I've ever taken right now. So I feel like I've dived into the intro stuff and then I just took macro and micro. So it's hard because I think the classes are more theory based
Yes.
and less application. So I'm not really as much correlating what I'm learning from those micro and macro classes. It's good to have that information, of course, but I think it's more tying in the intro concepts, like the basic concepts of economics. So hopefully as maybe I'll take a labor economics course. I think they're offering that soon. So I think once it dives into the more specifics, I'll be able to connect them a little more. But right now, since it's very theoretical, it's not really connecting
Not
as
really
much.
lining up. And that's
Yeah.
similar to conversations I've had with others whenever I say I do economic development. They're like, oh, you must
Mhm.
really like economics, which I
Mhm.
do, but it is
Yeah.
more cause and effect theory compared to, in our world, it's really almost more real estate development, which is the development side. But you're right, that labor economics course would probably tie into the workforce side of things, so the supply and demand. And that's really the name of the game right now. If you don't have labor, then you're not really going to be attracting any new business or keeping your current businesses, which is why Bloomington Normal is so lucky to have 2 universities and
Yeah.
Parkland Community College, because there's a giant labor pool there. Now, the next step is how do we figure out how to keep you guys around and then also hopefully have somewhere for you to live when you graduate. Speaking of graduation, how much longer do you have?
Ideally, I will graduate in December 2025, so kind of just a semester early. So assuming that I get into my study abroad course, I'll be able to be online to graduate early.
Any destinations you're looking for study abroad?
The one that I actually hear back from them tomorrow. It's Austria, Hungary, and Czech Republic. So I'd
Okay.
spend the month of May kind of in a few different cities in Central Europe. So
That'd be cool to see how,
yeah.
they handle economics and economic development. Do you have any
Yeah.
plans afterwards for like master's programs or just jumping right into it?
I don't think I would start off going into a master's program. Ideally, I'd just start working when I graduate. I'm not opposed to it, like a couple years down the line, maybe, but I just kind of want to get some industry experience and kind of figure out exactly what I want to go into.
That would actually help a lot of times on the applications because you're trying to set yourself apart, especially if you're trying to get into higher end school. So having
Hmm.
that experience on how to take some of that theory and possibly apply it could, rank you up a little bit in some of those programs. And plus, sometimes like me, when I started, I was a graphic design major and originally an art major at ISU, and how that
Yeah.
ties into what I do now. I started off as a graphic designer at an ad agency, but the ad agency was actually owned by a real estate developer. So I used to
Oh,
do
okay.
3D models and flyers, some of the things that you're doing, but for individual properties. And then our local EDC saw that and said, if you know marketing and real estate development, come develop the whole community. And that's how I kind of tracked in.
That's
So
really
it's
cool. Yeah.
a lot of people that are in economic development. I only think there's the Stevenson Center for Community Economic Development, and then maybe Pittsburgh actually
Hmm.
has a program. Most everybody else has some type of either real estate background, political background, who knows? So it's all a little bit different. All right, cool. So let's talk a little bit about, got one through graduation. Since you are local
Hmm.
and you were trying to recruit somebody possibly to Illinois Wesleyan, where would you, I guess, take them around on the perfect day to show off Bloomington Normal?
Ooh, okay. I love coffee, so I'd probably start off the day with a good coffee drink. I really like Level Up. That one's a newer one.
Where's that at?
It it's near Target, kind of. It's one of those like side buildings, like you know how there's like Alexander Steakhouse, and then
Oh, yes.
there's like a hair studio over there. So it's kind of like along there. The owners of Blooms opened that, so they their stuff kind of translates in some ways, but now it's like because Blooms is obviously just the drive-through, so it's like a physical cafe. Yoga Lab, I love the Yoga Lab coffee and acai bowls, those are great. Just any local coffee shop would probably be my first stop. Shopping wise, downtown or uptown, I mean, those are just right now kind of like the highest concentration of shops and things to do. If it was a nice weather day, maybe like the Constitution Trail, or if it was fall, Raider Farms is always fun. Just whatever the season kind of I can even do with them. If it's obviously a January day, might not be the perfect day anyways, but and then for food, that's obviously our selling point for Bloomington Normal is the amount of food we've got. So I I love a lot of food places. Any of the like Epiphany Farms, any of those types of restaurants. Luca Grill is great. I really do love their pizza. I could go on for days about the food here. So that alone should sell people to stay here. But um yeah, just food, coffee, and shopping would probably be a perfect day here.
So if there's like one food item, I know you mentioned Luca's Pizza. Is there one
Hmm.
thing, like if someone's here, they have to go try this?
Ooh. So the thing is, for me, I switch up what I get whenever I go to a restaurant, and I don't want to get the same thing twice. So I don't. It's kind of hard to say because I would also not want to get the same thing again. So
Sure. That makes sense. The final question we always ask everybody, and from what you've experienced so far, like why
mhm.
does economic development matter?
I mean, it definitely. seeing it from the inside perspective now, on like all the things that go into it, it just matters for generally the quality of life of whatever town it's in. I see that now a lot clearer than I had before. So you can just see the difference between communities with good economic and improving economic development versus the ones without it. So quality of life, because that ties into unemployment and the things available, resources and opportunities available. So it matters for a lot of different reasons that I don't think everyone acknowledges, like on a daily basis. Like, it's not just businesses, it's retention, it's not just like the growing of new businesses, though it's obviously still is that, but the retention of people, businesses, everything like that.
Yeah, I've been a part of different economies, and there are, like, this one has been going up actually at a rapid rate. I've also been in other ones that have been going the opposite direction. And if you are slowly losing people or losing value, then your tax rate has to increase to make up for the lost value or lost revenue that's been coming in. So we're lucky enough to see growth across the board in a lot of areas, and it feels like we're just trying to play catch up now. But
Yeah.
if it's in place, you can usually feel it. If it's not,
Mhm.
you can feel it too. It just looks a lot worse than what it does here. And I like how you pointed out it's not really what everybody thinks it is, because econ dev is a really good buzzword. Everyone's for
Mhm.
economic development, but not actually knowing how it's done, which is what we want to do this video podcast for, is actually show people eventually, some of the tricks of what we do with our initiatives that keeps moving these things forward. We always discuss it as a flywheel. It can go full speed ahead, or it can go in reverse. And like I said, I've been a part of some communities where it is going the wrong. Austin, is there anything else you wanted to cover or got you on here?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Well, we
Oh, yeah.
appreciate everything you're doing. We'll hopefully get some of those different demographic profiles up on our website so that all our listeners can go check out. And then also congrats on being our first video podcast guest.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do with
I
this
hope it
content
works.
and push it out. Yeah, hopefully it works. I'll
Yeah.
let you know if it doesn't, and we'll just use the audio. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.